Ah, right. I think I'm there. Am I here? Oh, this is killing me. Is it working? Let me know if you can hear me. Are we here? Are we here? God, it took me a quarter of an hour to realise that it wasn't working when I thought it was. So I was chatting away thinking, well, why is no one chatting back to me? Am I live? Am I definitely live? Please say I'm live, because this has been a right pain today. No idea what's going on. YouTube's just being really weird. Streamlabs being really weird, saying they're not communicating, and it took me a quarter of an hour to get going. I was just going through some people's work, and I thought I was live because it was telling me I was live, but I wasn't. Boomer, don't say that. I'm going to go back and go through some of the homework. Hopefully you've done... are we live? You are live? Please say I'm live. Oh, yes, please. Oh. Yeah, I think maybe I do have to switch to Twitch, because this was a nightmare today. I mean, 15 minutes trying to just get going. The video started with a lot of drop frames. That's interesting. I wonder if there's something in my settings. I probably can't change it now. Let me know. I mean, is it okay now? Are we all right? Yeah. I'm just double checking that everything is all right before I carry on again, because I was chatting away for about 10 minutes there, thinking that people were watching me. No one was. But that's what I do every day, I suppose. Good to see you, Justin Levato, Spiky Dento, Pez, Rob Clisley. And apparently Netflix and YouTube are breaking the... That's probably what it is. It's just that lots of people are streaming and stuff, so my internet connection can't keep up. I'm glad we're all good, though. Okay, so I am on Discord now. There we go. Because I was worried. I was thinking, there's only 30 people watching. That's low for this channel. And I was a bit disappointed that people were fed up with me, perhaps. Hello, Angel Aguado Guerrero. The Entertainment 46, Scott Nicely. Nice to see you all on here. Luna Lotus, your text animation is missing. That's a good point. I'd forgotten about that. I might sort it out later. Spaceships needed, Grant. Maybe there's better internet connection on the spaceships, is what you're thinking. Yeah, but maybe we'll do some spaceships at some point. Good stuff, Daniel from Ghana. I'm glad you worked through the monster tutorial. A good start, that one. Go on to the well next, or the Sea Shack scene. That's a good one. I like that one. Okay, so we got some cool cannons. We got one from Tin. So this is the homework. Hopefully you've all done your homework. If not, I want to hear your best homework excuses. Okay. So if you haven't done it, you have to come up with some silly excuse. Okay. Looking forward to it. Watching from New Zealand, GS Randbog. My watch is going. I'm just hello Raymond, nice to see you on here. Nafisil Khan Nabir. If a 3D artist wants to dive into game development in Unity, what should be your first advice to him? Immerse yourself in it. Just do as much of it as you can, as often as you can, and keep going. Don't get despondent. Keep working as many hours. It's just the hours you put in. Lots of research, lots of practice. You'll get there. So Tin's, I really like this one. The next stage, I think, for you, Tin, is to think about details. So maybe a few scratches on the canon and wood grain. That would be a good one. My dog ate my 3D model. Good. Yes, excellent. My modelled and dog and I ate my computer. This is looking good. There's lots of eating ones. Yeah, excellent. My cat ate my mouse. Oh, that's a good one, Spiky Dento. Like what we've done there. To paint is a pain. Anyway, where are I? So this one's from Robson. This is a good one as well. So again, just think about the details next, but really, really nice work. Very impressed with how people got on. Nice work. Another one from Silver Fox here. This is an interesting render, isn't it? It looks like you're using the outline mode. Is it outline? Can't remember. Freestyle, that's the word I'm looking for. It looks pretty cool, that one. Like this one, so nice. Like the style, looking really good. I think I prefer that one to mine, actually. Yeah, I like that. Oh no, actually that one is really good. Yeah, definitely. Then we got Nicho Demons, is it? Nicho Demons? I like the little notches in here. Maybe a bit more in the Canon. A few notches at the front there, and there's some scratch. No, you'd have to paint those on. I like the cog idea. That's cool. Brilliant stuff. Or we'll come to that later because I saw that one earlier. That is good. James Green, or is it James G? It's not. I'm not sure if are you James Green or not. But this one looks really nice. Like the materials, textures, looking good. Excellent. Got the wrong idea of chips. Nice work, Wayne. Like that one. I left my homework at home. My model got coronavirus and is being isolated for 14 days. That's a good one, Jeff. I like that. Oh dear. And my VPN is unstable. Can't watch any more tonight. No problem, King Flippy. Nice to see you. It is you, James Green. Yes, I wasn't sure because it's your James Green on here, but you're not James Green on here on Discord. Nice to see you on here, James. Yeah, so really nice model, looking really cool. Love the materials. Distinction. Love the grass as well. Was that a plug-in or? I mean, it looks really, really lovely. It's really cool. Love it. And this is the one. Oh, this is probably my favourite. It's got to be, isn't it? This is from Akinaro. And look at this. I'm going to open the original. It's a few subscribers. Thanks for subscribing. And let's see. There we go. Yes. Oh, that is lovely, isn't it? That is just brilliant. Yep. I mean, there's a few anomalies here. I suppose that's probably just in the low poly base or something. But just when it's got all this detail in it, it looks fantastic, doesn't it? Absolutely brilliant. Well done. Well done. Oh, that's the wrong button. Escape. There we go. Oh. What happened? There's a few on it. There we go. There's some more angles. I think actually that's a better angle. Really love it. Love those cannonballs. And Pez. Oh, look at that one. This is cool, isn't it? Some sort of bolt thrower. Some weird bolt. Oh, that's lovely, that. Excellent. That's really cool. Robson. Yeah, they're on a sort of... Is it on a ship? I was going to say it's on a ship, but it's on a fort, isn't it? Probably. Who knows? Really cool. Absolutely loving it. Just checking that everybody's all right on the stream. Let me know where you're from. I probably might not be able to see fully because there's quite a lot of... it's quite tricky to keep up with it all. And nice one, Core Talaris. Texture painting isn't working for you. Oh, so that's Core yes, are you? Cool. But it's really nice. Nice work. Let me know maybe what your problem is, or is it just that it's laggy computer, all those sort of things. To be fair, texture painting doesn't take up too much RAM and stuff. Not RAM. Too much processing power. not enough RAM. But there's loads of problems that you can have with it. Okay, I was sort of thinking about this. There's a couple of ways of doing this. You can sort of sculpt and then bake the normal maps, but I'll probably just do some texturing and sort of have a chat whilst texturing, because that's part of the fun, isn't it? Having a bit of a chat and things. So you can see my wood texture on here. Let's go to layout and just have a quick look at what we're doing. I'll zoom in on that. So it needs a bit of work, that wood texture. So let's just go to texture paint mode now and make sure that before you start painting, when you revisit your scene, always make sure that your blend mode is on mix, so you know what you're painting, and just have a quick check of your strength and things like that. And obviously things like symmetry as well. Right, how are we doing? Let's have a good look around. Yep, so I'll isolate it so I can actually see it. That's / on my numpad. Oh, I better do that. JNM shortcut keys, love it. There we go. And I'll bring this over a bit because we don't really need to see this too much now. Cool. Are we all good? Are we all good? How do I get on the Discord server? The link should be in the description. I think I copied the up-to-date link, but then I did copy the stream from yesterday's stream. It might not be. If one of my mods can get a link from the Discord server, that'd be really cool. So you can see my Wacom Mobile Studio Pro here. It's 16-inch screen. It's sort of like the best one that you could get at the time. I think they've updated it now in the last sort of few months. But you get a rough idea of what I'm doing when I'm moving my cursor around with that little webcam there. Texture paint in Workbench and Render. Absolutely no idea. I'm sort of concerned that might crash or something if I do that, so I won't try it, but just have a go and see how you get on. Is Discord working though from the description? Because it wasn't working before. Cool. Right, I'm going to just crack on and see how we get on. Got a few reference images. I thought I'd grab some of painted wood here. Really like this design, so I'll probably go with something similar to that. And this is nice and simplistic. I like those scratches. There's some lovely work there, which looks pretty cool, but I probably forgot to bring the full image across into pure ref I'm using here. And this one is probably my favorite. It's a bit stylized, but not too stylized, so I like that. There's 2 Discord links in the description, is there? Oh no, that doesn't really help, does it? So it should be the top one, hopefully. Have you ever thought about making your own game? Oh, that would be great fun. Maybe one day I will have a go at that. Yeah, I'd like to, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to sample colours with S, and so I can sort of make them a bit more pronounced. And have a look what's going on here. Not rush this time, I suppose. This is going to be the key, isn't it? Because I was rushing last time I did this. Just getting these not details. They're not details, they are not details. See what I did there? Probably not. Because I don't even get it. Oh dear. Right, how are we doing? You have to sort of think a little bit about the grain. Sometimes they blink up, but that doesn't work at all, so don't do that. Don't do what I did there. A few notches in here. Don't like that. Hasn't started well. So you rub out by choosing a colour close to it and then sort of painting over it like that. There we go. This just doesn't feel quite right, this. There's something about it that... well, I suppose from that sort of distance it's working, but not quite happy, but we'll get there. So I'll sample this colour and I'll go just a touch lighter, maybe across to a different sort of shade, and then create some colour there. There we go. So I suppose the light, if it's coming from the top, we need to see more light on here. So let's sample that one, bring the colour up, and then give that just a touch there, and maybe a touch here where it's sort of hitting from the top there, and then there's a dent in here. Is that working? It's not too bad. These will generally have sort of lines going across like this because it's sort of following the grain goes in, and then you might get a sort of slight circular pattern around here as the plank, well, around here actually. Yeah, as the plank, you know what I mean, it's sort of like the grain of a trunk sort of thing. My brush is too small, that doesn't help. No problem. There, thank you Spiky Danto. Have you got YouTube redirect? Is that? Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully we're all good. Yeah, if you've got any questions, then at Grant Abbitt with 2 T's and 2 B's. Would you believe it? So I'm a bit dazed at the moment because it wasn't working out and stuff, so I'm all a bit sort of... I'm not sure about that pink look, actually. It's really not working for me. I mean, it's not awful, is it? But it doesn't look great. Maybe I need to come back to it. That's sometimes what you need to do. When you're sort of not pleased with how something's looking, just give it some time and come back to it. Because I'm not pleased with how this is looking, but I'm just going to do a couple of things, right? Up there. Out here. With a bit of a darker colour. There we go. You can't paint normal maps very easily, no. It doesn't... You sort of can. There's tricks and stuff you can use. It's not particularly great, though, to be honest. It's not easy. The best way to do normal maps is by sculpting and then baking them on. I was going to come back to this, but now I'm just sort of in mode now and just sort of going for it. So there should be a slightly darker colour at the bottom as well. We can probably get the multiply and just sort of bring that up. So very low strength on this. And can you see what I'm doing? Just bring up a bit of darkness there. The multiply is sort of, it's saturated as well. It's an interesting tool, really. Just going to give it that bit of darkness there and a tiny bit to the bottom there. I feel like this one is the problem actually, but we'll get there. Okay, a few little scratches, we'll try that. So, small brush with the multiply. Probably need a sharper curve really, so the fall off probably needs to be as sharp for a scratch. So a couple there, and then it will catch the light, so we need the screen. Catch the light up that side, just sort of there. Like so. And they sort of look like scratches. Sort of working, you know. I feel like maybe we can highlight this piece of wood here to come out. Maybe this edge here. Yeah, so I said I was going to move on to something different, but I can't help myself. Just want to sort of try and get this looking a little bit better, really. Yeah, that top doesn't work quite well at the moment, but we'll get there. And that doesn't look particularly good, does it? I prefer this side actually, it's much plainer, so if the worst comes to the worst, just smudge it out. It's got too much of an orangey look, really, hasn't it? Not orangey, it's pinky. It's the sort of pinky colour that I'm not happy with. I'm going to sample this colour over here. How are people doing? Am I still on screen? Oh no, I'm still on the smudge tool, that's why it's not sampling that colour. And I'm still on screen, that's what you got to watch out for when you change those brushes over. Alright, I'm going to smudge these in a bit. And just go across, rather than that sort of circular idea. I don't think it's working really, so it actually looks a bit better now. It's not great, but it's looking better. So sample that, back to the draw brush. Let's make change the colours around a little bit. It's a very low strength, so I'm going to just bring my brush down. That's a bit better. Yeah, I sort of prefer that. It's still not great. Still not great. I'm still not happy with what I'm producing here, but we will get there. It's a bit better now. Still doesn't quite look right. That's the problem with the smudge brush. It really does properly smudge, so it's a little bit rubbishy at the moment, but we'll get there. We will get there. I'm confident. How's it going? So is the vector paint so is this vector paint or pixel paint? It's painted pixels with this one. It's very high strength. So yeah, it's painting onto this map down here. You can probably see that building up slowly. You can sort of see the wood there, just about. It looks better on there than it does on here, I think. Let's bring that brush down. Not there, not there. Follow the grain. There we go. And then just screen and brighter colour, just so we get those little notches. Very sharp down there, isn't it? It might just smudge that in really slightly. Might be the HDRI is sort of messing with it a little bit. Slowly, very slowly getting there. Okay, that's from about there, that's not looking awful, but I might come back to it and we'll see. As a dedicated Photoshop user for years and a newbie to Blender, what is the advantage of texture painting on the actual model rather than painting a texture in Photoshop? Just because you will see it instantly in 3D and you can sort of go around the corners, whereas unwrap here, I don't know quite how it's meeting up with the edge over here. So this edge is meeting with this edge along here. So it's quite tough to line them up, and you need much less seams and bigger islands for that to work. Hopefully that's making sense. Okay, so let's have a look at another object. What I might do, so what you can do, you can see, oh no, I'm going to have to paint this one again because I didn't map the UVs. Well, let's just, in fact, why is that the same object? Doesn't need to be. Anyway, into edit mode, let's just Alt-A and select this side here, delete it, all the faces, grab that one, add a mirror modifier, and instead of mirroring by itself, we are going to choose the canon, and then it's mirrored across the other side, and we don't have to paint it twice. Isn't that handy? So if it's pixel paint, then are you already limited to the render resolution while you edit? Yes, indeed I am. Yep. I mean, you can up the size, so in texture paint mode, I think we shouldn't have any problems upping the size, image. Oh, I better save. So let's canon color, yep, just checking that's all good. Save. Oh, that's, do I have to be under image editor perhaps? Or maybe I can't once I've already started. I'm not tried once I've painted on it to change it, so maybe when you started painting on it, you can't. I thought you could, but it might just be when you, yeah, maybe once you started painting on it you can't. Are you going to add nails and rivets to the wood? It's not a bad idea, is it? Where would be a good place for a rivet? I'm not sure it's suitable in this case. I probably need a separate model to sort of rivet it together in some ways. Yeah, cool. Right, let's work on the canon a bit more. So let's go to, I think I did it last time, which is lock object modes. If you untick that, you should be able to press Alt and then tap, and it will select a different object for you. So that's quite handy rather than having to go from that object into object mode to the other object. And if I put this in texture paint now, if I click Alt tap, I can then choose the side support here and start painting on that, or Alt left click as it were, or tap in this case I'm on the canon, and it keeps the old mode that it was in. In this case it is what is it? Texture paint mode. Okay, so let's change my reference images, make sure I've got some sort of canon here that I'm looking at. There's no sort of, I mean there were some stylized canons, but there was some quite good, because I quite like the way this one, yeah. You say the way this one is textured, I quite like that. That's probably more a normal map than anything, but it looks quite cool. So maybe I can mimic something like that. That'd be quite nice. Remember, you can paint just with a texture stencil, so that's a sort of easier way to do these things. But let's see how we get on. So I'm on screen, and I can come around here. Let's go back to the middle there. So we get a nice highlight. And actually, yeah, for just getting the main shape, you can use symmetry. But here, I haven't got symmetry turned on, which would have actually probably helped a bit more. Make sure you come at an angle like this, because if you're too far over here and I go around here, can you see how it's going to spread this way? So I'll undo that. So you've got to be sort of side on like this. Hopefully that's all making sense to people. There we go. So we've got an outline there, and we'll have an outline in here. Why have I not got mirror turned on for this bit? Who knows? I think someone's asking a question there, so we'll answer that in a second. Okay, so we've got a nice highlight there. We want to highlight on the edge here. I'm going to turn mirror on now. Right, so where are we? So down here, into symmetry. I think it's X and Z. If I do that, see that it goes the other side, yes, and it should go to the bottom as well, which it does. So just testing it for the time being. I'll make my brush a little bit smaller. Okay, so we've got that highlight going around there. Okay, so we might have a sort of dent in here. So I'm going to come out of screen mode and go back to mix. and sample this colour here and sort of scrub this bit out. Oh, I better. That's what I'm not so good at, is remembering where I am with symmetry. So turn symmetry off. Sample probably this colour here. Let's sample that. So this becomes the same colour and we haven't got the highlight. It's interesting though, I'm still seeing a bit of a highlight. Just going to do something. Oh, there we go. That's coming from the principled BSDF, which is strange. Or is it? No, it is coming from the HDRI in the background. I'm going to... So what I've done, I've got Node Wrangler installed. Oh, thank you very much, Patrick White.
Thank you very much.
That's very much appreciated. Loving the boss graphic there. That's cool. So Control Shift left click with Node Wrangler installed, and I can bring up this viewer node, which is actually an emission, but it discounts any lighting you've got on it, so it can help you sort of decide exactly what's going on with it. So I'm grabbing this, sampling this color, and just painting in here. Now I can sample the highlight color. Let's go back to it, make it a tiny bit brighter, and I'm going to make a really sort of precise, or more precise, highlight coming around here. But it's going to have a sort of dent in it like this as it goes around. Can you see, when we look at it now, it looks like it's sort of been hit a few times. Hopefully that makes sense. I can probably afford to make my brush a bit bigger actually, because that's a bit overly highlighted there. But I don't like the fall off, so I'm going to go a bit more like this. So that will give me a harder edge. Let's just go back over here and check that's working. It's not quite. I'm going to go back a few steps and make my brush a bit smaller this time, which is just by zooming in this case, but probably around here. I think we're getting there now. So it looks like it's sort of been bashed and hit. And I've not got symmetry on for this because I want it to look different each side, so it doesn't look uniform and mirrored basically. You get the idea, hopefully. It's sort of working, isn't it? All going good. Just looking at the questions. Do you sell this model online? I could sell this model online, but it's difficult, isn't it? Because the demand would be so high for this model that I think it would crash whatever platform I put it on. So you have to be careful when you're such a brilliant artist as I am, you see. Maybe I'll put it online. Maybe maybe I should go through the whole process with you. I suppose the difficulty is going into my accounts and things, and but putting this on Sketchfab. Would you like to see that and then selling it and stuff? Would that be something that people would be interested in? Let me know. So I'll probably do a bit of the same around here as well. So you can see there's a dent there. Just having a look at the chat there. / on my numpad there to get into isolation mode again. This man's wisdom is unlimited. Unlimited. I love it. Unlimited wisdom. That's going to be a new alert of some. Love it. So hopefully I'm not going too far with this. You can go overboard by doing too many of these things and stuff, so watch out for that. We don't want anybody going overboard. Why not use mask or hide what you're not painting on? I think I just did that. So I'm in isolation mode. Sometimes it's useful to see what you are sort of copying. What am I saying? The things around it and the colours they're using and all those sort of things. It can be really useful. Just going to have a look on my reference images, seeing if there's any other ideas that I'm forgetting, but they all look similar to mine, really. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So some of these, I mean, it's looking a bit stone-like at the moment. If we want it to look a more metallic, probably needs to be a bit darker, so I can go to my fill and use the multiply. So if I use multiply here and do very low strength in the middle there and just fill it in until you think, oh, I'm about metal. So probably around there, maybe. Well, that's interesting. We've got a bit of a line there. So just a bit of a smudge.
Well, thank you very much.
Hi, hello, Milan. Nice to see you on here. It's really good of you. Once again, as always. Yeah, a couple of people put their homework in late, didn't they? That is disgraceful, isn't it? Very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. You can tell what I'm like as a teacher, really, can't you? Very, very strict I am. I don't give homework. I just say this because it's coursework and stuff. So if you don't do it, you don't get the grade. There's not much you can do, really. I suppose I do have to worry a bit about my job and stuff. So not quite that simple. I'm using the smudge brush a bit there, just to sort of, well, you can see what I'm doing, can't you? Hopefully that's all making sense. How are you, Milan? Are you good? Satanic run. I didn't even do the homework. Oh, Moritz, you're in my bad books. Detention, that's why, detention. When I used to work in a secondary school, I had to be a sort of mean gabbit, as it were. I just did not enjoy a secondary, it wasn't good. I did not enjoy it. I'm going to use the mirror at this point. I've got the multiply and I'm just going to darken this section a little bit. And the mirror in the X. It's quite strong, so watching out for that. No, that's not quite right. A little bit lighter. And if you're sort of getting blotches with your mirror, then you go back to the mix brush, and that's where you can just sample a colour, and it will bring that colour, blend it in really lightly with the ones next to it. You see what I'm doing there, hopefully. A little bit blotchy, but it's not too bad. Don't mind too much. Okay, let's sample that colour, and I'm going to create just a bit more around the base here. You have to watch out for this area here, it's going around the corner. Okay, it's kind of working, isn't it? It's still looking stone-like, and it's not easy to get the metal. It really is tough. How many times does it take to make a game asset of this magnitude when you are working? How many hours, sort of thing. Let's look at the whole model. Let's think about that. So from start to finish, probably about 5 hours-ish. It varies a lot though, from how detailed this. Maybe I could do this one in about 4 if I was. I mean, I suppose we haven't actually had 5 hours on it yet, have we? So by the end of this session, it will be 5 hours. So actually, no, I'll probably do it in 4 then. Yeah, about 4. Grant Abbitt. Yes, working on export.fbx files from DaVinci Resolve and importing into Blender. Solved the problem with wrong camera orientation by using simple Python script. Wow. Cool, well done. Do you buy the screen with the pencil that you're using and drawing? I bought this from Amazon. I've got some affiliated links on there actually in my description, and you can follow those, and if you want to buy it. But this one costs £2,000. It's a computer in itself, so it's mobile, so I can use this as a screen, or I can take it with me on holiday, which we can't have at the moment. I hardly ever go on holiday, if I'm honest. I'm quite happy where I am, especially in the summer. Absolutely love the summer. I go river swimming at my local river around the corner from here, and it's just the most beautiful thing to do, going in the river and swimming away. Quite into swimming, really. Don't take it that seriously though. I did do a triathlon once with someone. We did a sort of team triathlon. They were doing the running and someone else was doing the cycling, and that was pretty good fun. And we came 4th. We actually came first in our age category. Our combined age was over 100, so that you get a special award, and we came first in that category. Oh, thank you, Julio Cesar, Brito Gardano. Am I pronouncing that right? Hello from Brazil. Great work with these lives. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. It's just brilliant that you can support.
Well, thank you very much.
Just filling these in with a little bit of darkness, so they copy the colour from the side. I've got the mix, but I've got a very dark colour on. And there might be a dent there, so you might see a little bit of shadow there, but less of a shadow over here. So let's sample this and lighten this area up a little bit. You see a sort of light coming down from there and hitting it. With that river story, this stream is getting like Bob Ross feel. A lot of people say that. I haven't watched any Bob Ross for a long time, so I can't really comment on what Bob Ross says nowadays. So we need a bit. What it's missing. I mean, it looks kind of cool as a stone cannon. That's quite fun. And maybe that I should just keep it easy for myself. But if you're trying to do metal, it probably needs to be a bit darker, looking at some of the metal references, but you have really sharp highlights, and they're very strong highlights as well. Let's bring down some metal. Ooh, that's the wrong button. Okay, so can you see the really strong, so close to white is what I mean there, highlights there, and very dark at the base here actually, so maybe I do need to get darker actually. I kind of like these ones though. And this one here, so yeah, and here, look at those really sharp highlights, and it's going to be tough, really, because getting it right with some of these, like this dappled effect here, it's quite tough to paint that on. But we'll see how we go. It's a good challenge for me actually. And this is a lighter color one, and again, there's really sharp highlights. We've got some reflections going on as well, and that's the really difficult bit because, and really, you kind of want to steer clear of metal sometimes, or too much metal, if you are doing a game where reflections, if it's animated, if it's going to move, the reflections would move, and that's as soon as you move, you notice that it's not metal, and that can be a problem. So what we need to do, should we go for the? We'll go for the mix brush. I'll sample this, and I'll go much higher. Can you see how low that is? So much higher towards the white. I'm going to take away the hue as well. If I put that to 0, that will take it in the middle. It doesn't look like it's in the middle of my screen though. I'm zooming in with middle mouse button and control here, if that helps. Okay, so yeah, make that a bit smaller so I can see my menus as well. So I've gone a bit lighter, nice low brush, and let's do some highlights here. So sort of reflecting the sky. God, that's a low brush as well, and it's really, really coming out. Okay. So just a bit of highlight there, a bit at the top there, and slightly more at the bottom here, where it's hitting the light. Still got mirror on, and sometimes when you've got mirror on, you see that sort of weird line in the middle there. Can you see that? Because it's going over itself, it's quite weird. It's hard to describe why that happens. But the more I do this, and the more I go down the middle, the more we sort of build up a highlight slowly but surely. For some reason it's looking pinky to me. Is it looking pinky to other people? I suppose it's not on that screen over there, so it's probably just my Wacom isn't adjusted properly. Okay, so can you see that highlight is making it look slightly more like metal? It's not that close yet, but we'll get there. Now if I do one, I'm going to turn mirror off now so we don't get that weird anomaly of line, and bring my brush right down, strength up a bit. And we're sort of getting that metal coming out. And at the front here, very strong. Hopefully this is all making sense and it's going to work out all right. Keep the highlight fairly small on some of these things. See what's going on there. It's Bob Ross, doesn't say much nowadays. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I kind of half looked into him a long time ago, and his son sort of took on the brand in some way and was doing a few things as well, which is quite interesting. And apparently he used to be a drill instructor in the army, but this could all be fake. So can you see that's sort of looking a bit more metallic now, picking up the light from there. I think we need a bit more around here though. Bring the strength down. Like this. There we go. Yeah, so it's hopefully yeah. Speaking of pink colours, how do you verify final colours will look correct when you deliver the final product? And that is really actually very tricky, and I should calibrate my monitors so I know that I'm definitely seeing what other people are seeing. But I've got 3 different monitors, so I tend to have them all really slightly adjusted so that I can just sort of look between each, and that's how I work. I know it's a really probably a very bad way of working, but it kind of just works for me. So generally speaking, you're okay. The worst one I find is the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro, would you believe it? I find it really hard to get any sense out of it with the sort of calibration and stuff. Really annoying. Okay, so this needs to be a lot darker though around the other area. So is it working? Sort of looking metallic. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough. It's not going that well. It's sort of working, but not brilliant. We'll get these highlights in, and then hopefully, yeah, sort of getting there, aren't we? Thanks for subscribing. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh, look at that anomaly there. Get the smudge brush on that. That's what you do find a lot of the time though when you are using the sort of texture painting, that you will get weird anomalies around the place that you have to sort of smudge out or clean up. Bit of a pain really. Okay, now to the I'm going to go for the multiply brush to start with. Very low strength. I'm going to turn down my audio a bit so the alerts aren't too disruptive. Andre Isaac, thank you very much for subscribing. So we need a bit more darkness on the bottom there. I suppose I need to come out into isolation mode there. But that's why you kind of want to be able to see. And remember, this might be animated, so you'd have to be a little bit careful, but generally you're probably going to move from up to here and down to there. It's not too far. Oh, we've got lots of subscribers today. Cool stuff. Oh, I thought I had mirror on and I didn't all that time, so I'm going to undo a few of those. It doesn't matter if it's slightly different either side. It's helpful, adds character. And we probably need to smudge a bit of this in as well, don't we? There we go. Good stuff, we're getting there. Click on search window next to window logo and type calibrate display color, then follow the instructions. It's simple. Really? That's very interesting. I'll have to go at that. I'm not sure it's going to be that easy with my Wacom though, because it's like, well, I could be wrong. Because I have to go into sort of a special program to do stuff with my Wacom. A sort of display program, which might be a bit more awkward, but I'm going to give that a go. Can you email me those? Because otherwise I'll be searching through the stream trying to find those details again. I'm going to come out and multiply because it's getting a bit blotchy, so sample this colour and come up to here. Bit more over here as well. Okay, how are we looking? It's looking a bit more metallic, isn't it? Sort of. Right from the top, it looks a bit fake, really. But we can work on that. Probably needs another highlight as if the light's reflecting from somewhere else. We can probably as well use some of this wood. So I'm going to sample that colour and just paint a touch. Oh, that is mixed, that's all right. Paint a bit of this wood on here. Still got a very low strength, maybe up that a little bit more. There we go. Have I got mirrors on still? Yes, I have, that's good. So it's doing it both sides. So I'm using this colour. Not very successful. There's not a lot going on there, is there? Yeah, there we go. Just checking it was moving. I'm just obviously choosing really dark black browns. They look a lot lighter. Strange. I think it was sampling from this as priority. That was it. So there we go. Just wondering what's going on there. So it looks like there's a slight reflection there. It's very blurred, which is what I want. Probably want to go a bit darker than this. So that's reflecting the floor. There we go. So yeah, we're looking a bit more metallic now, sort of getting there anyway. Right, so we need a bit more undulations in it. What might be interesting is to try anyway. I'm not sure it's going to work, but we'll try it. Is using a texture. I've gone to brush the texture too early, so we've got to set up a new texture. So texture, new, and I won't bother naming it. I do like to bring out another window so we can see what's going on. In fact, this time I won't, so you can see how you do it normally. So I'm going to go to the texture, and there's my texture set up. Image and movie. So probably could use the Voronoi there. That might work if I just change this around a bit. Intensity to about. Oh, God, that just suddenly disappears, doesn't it? About there. Size. Bring it up a touch. Nebula. Can't remember what that does, but I thought I'd fiddle with it and see. Feature weight. I can't even remember what this is now. Usually I just mess with them, and so yeah, that's I sort of half remember that there's sort of like the dark bits, and then you can sort of see what's going on, can't you? Yeah, somewhere around there, I think. Right, now I've got this texture, and it's on a stencil at the moment, so I go over into stenciling. So let's back to my tools and back down to texture, stencil, and maybe just go to. Let's try tiled and see what happens. Nothing. That did not work at all, did it? That's very strange. I'm not sure that's coming out particularly well, but let's just whack the strength up for something. Sample this. It is coming out, but it's really, really big. So I'm going to go random actually. Yeah, so you can see it. It's not great, but we can see it at least. Right, so I want to change the size, so let's go back to the texture. Tell you what, I am going to bring this out. God, this is the hardest bit. I'm going to do that with my mouse. It's really hard with the pen. Getting that there. There we go. Bring that out a bit and bring this out a bit. So I haven't seen the chat for a while, so what are we saying? As long as you're using Windows 10, it's easy. We'll give that a go. Thanks, Spiky Danto. Good to see you here. Hi Grant, I have a question. Carmen Apria. Is it possible to create a shadow color dark blue? Yes. If there's a way to colorful a shadow. Thank you very much. Yep, I'll do that in a sec. Well, I'll show you. When you're using your multiply brush, just up here with the multiply, I've got my texture on, but it shouldn't matter too much. So it's quite high strength. I can just change it to blue. And with the multiply blue, it sort of creates a bluish coloured, coloured shadow. The multiply strength is way too high though. Let's just bring that down a bit. So you can see there's a blue tinge to it. And it depends. I mean, you can actually just, obviously, with a mix brush and just make it a dark blue as well. And that will come out dark blue. Although it doesn't look particularly bluish, does it? But it is blue, apparently. Hopefully that'll help. Okay, so just going back to the center, let's choose my white. It just looks pink to me. It's really weird. And how are we doing? I'm not doing very well with this texture, am I? So let's undo that. I mean, it sort of does work as a sort of bashed in. It's almost there. It just needs to change the settings a little bit, I think. Yeah, fiddle with the settings. Is it possible to texture paint shadows on a model using Shadow Catcher? Yes. Yes, it is. I'm trying to think why you think there'd be an issue, is what I'm sort of thinking. Because, yeah, that will definitely work. Yeah. Maybe I'm just not quite understanding. Where's the size gone? There we go. We need to make these much smaller. About here. So I'm using random, aren't I, still? That looks right. Get there eventually. I feel like that was weird, wasn't it? Didn't press undo, I just pressed Z. I'm not on multiply, am I? But I feel like this is going really dark. I know what I've done. I'm being stupid. I'm using texture instead of the brush texture. That was really stupid of me. So there's texture. I'll close that down. And there's texture mask, which is the brush texture. That's what I thought I was doing, and I wasn't. So yeah, now it's making sense. I was thinking, what's going on with this? So you can hardly see anything there. Let's bring it up a little bit. And yeah, so if we look at that, I mean, it's sort of, I'm just going to undo a few things. So when I undid that, you could sort of see it actually at work. So I'm going to have to go in and change this texture a bit more again. So where are we? That one there. And intensity probably, isn't it? Yep, okay, we're getting there. Now I can change the size. It's not quite there for me yet. Might be that I'm just not going to be able to use that technique. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try the screen brush with it. Now I am going to change it back to where it was a bit more. Oh, look at that. That's quite fun, isn't it? God, it's tough to get what you want without knowing exactly what they're doing. Let's just try a few things. How's that looking? I might not be able to use this. Yeah, that's sort of working actually, isn't it? That is sort of working. So there's the screen. I use... Well, that's probably is the right technique. Full-time, yeah, I'm a full-time. A bit of Rust maybe, we'll do that later, yeah. So I teach as well as do this sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's sort of becoming more a full-time thing, certainly. Can you see that brush coming through now? It's giving it a bit of a metallic, sort of brush metallic look. I have still got mirror turned on, so I'll turn that off. Still looking a bit pinky, isn't it? Show them over to the pink slightly. It's not a problem in a sense. There we go. I feel like it is still tiled, so I'm going to use random now on this side. There we go. That's what I was trying to do for ages, but it's not quite as I envisaged, but it's sort of working, isn't it? I need a bit on the front here. There we go. What type of Wacom do you have? Well, that's what I need it in the description. Mobile Studio Pro 16 is the one I've got. Okay, so I'll turn the texture off now. So that was one technique of using the texture. The other is obviously by hand, and you can just sort of come in and highlight areas. That's going a bit weird though. I feel like the texture's still on. Yep, it's on here for some reason. Not sure why that happened. So let's just undo that, and I'll just bring this down a bit. Just seeing what people are up to, what they're saying. It's fairly quiet on chat today, isn't it? Ooh. So not that big. So every now and again, sort of changing the fall off. So this is quite a steep one, so I change it a bit sharper. That's too sharp. That's not what I was hoping. Let's undo that a bit. I think that bit's alright, but it just... I was sort of expecting to get a few highlights from some dents and things. Like this. Yeah, that's sort of working. There we go. Cool. Okay, so we got some dents there. I might have some more serious dents as well, and some scratches in a second. So you can make your brush really small for this and put some scratches across, but not that big. So lower the strength. About there. I'll go to 4 pixels. I'll type it in this time. And it helps actually if I put the radius on, then I can do light scratches like this. It's probably less stylized now, isn't it? So I've got to be a bit careful of doing that. Yeah, I've probably gone a bit too realistic now, and away from the stylized approach. Classic. I always do that. Sort of go a bit too over the top with the painting. And I suppose a way of thinking about that is how small you're making your brushes. That's a good way to think about it. Because here, if I'm making my brushes this small, why do I need to go that detailed if it's a stylized piece? So be careful of that, and don't do what I'm doing here. I'm not sure this is working that well, to be honest. Right, let's sample this and make the brush bigger, and maybe just put some dents in here as well. Sample that colour. Yes, brass or bronze construction. Could be that that's what this one's doing. I'm still on the screen brush. I was thinking, why is that so bright? So I'm sort of trying to create some slight dents where the white bits are. There's a bit of undulations and dents as well. Thanks very much. Yeah, I suppose it is the sort of quarantine thing. I thought we'll do some more live streams, mainly because of that, really. I know that people are at home, so they might enjoy seeing what I'm up to and stuff. So I thought, yeah, we'll do more live streams. But I'll be back to tutorials. Well, I'll keep doing tutorials as well, is what I'm trying to say. There we go. That's sort of working, isn't it? Sort of. We'll get there. We will get there. I suppose that's the trick, isn't it? And maybe that's what separates me from other artists that are, very skilled, is the time it takes to get there. Because what you probably will notice is that other really experienced artists, they'll get to a stage much quicker than me, where they're pleased. I'm still sort of experimenting with things. Hence why I'm sort of live streaming as well, and this is a personal project, so I can try things out and see how it looks. Oh, look at that. That's really dreadful, isn't it? Get the smudge tool on that. There we go. Sometimes when you paint round things and through things, you get those sort of dreadful details. Okay, and very last thing. It's sort of working, isn't it? Just about. I'm going to create some sort of... they're sort of... I'm not sure what they are. They're where the metal sort of corrodes. So I'll do that here. So a dark bit just there, and it sort of creates these sort of weird blotches. And then let's go to this. Well, doesn't have to be the screen brush. I'll just sample a bit from here, just looking at my strength, keeping an eye on that, and then highlighting some parts around it, and you create those sort of weird corrosion bits. I think that makes sense. Yep. Don't go overboard. Just maybe one or two around the place, maybe another one down here. So I'll do the white bit first this time, and then the dark bit. So I can just sample let's sample one of these blacks. And so right in the crevice, you sort of get ambient occlusion, and then it's slightly lighter in the other bits around here. Yep, so a few sort of weird corrosion bits like that. Probably need something on the front as well. I'm going to do a sort of dink here. So I've still got that dark brush. Create a dink in there. Make the brush nice and small. Goes off there. And sample this. So that, let's try that. Sample that again. Brush a bit bigger. And the light's going to catch it just there. And a tiny bit there. Always do that. Make them too small. Go in and do lots of cool detail, and then come out and think, oh, that's too small. Always do that. I would never learn from my mistakes, though. I'll do those. Right, we can probably go about there. I'll sample this, but I think it was a bit too dark as well, so I'm going to go sample around here as well. Save your work. Yeah, probably good idea, that, isn't it? Save. Cool. Save, please. Yep, I need it, don't I? I do need it. Sometimes I don't know whether you do this. We probably all do it as artists, don't we? But you've been going for about 16 hours or something, and then you realise you haven't even saved it. You go to save your work and you think, what did I call this? And it's got untitled there, and you think, I never actually even saved this from starting point. Crazy stuff. Crazy. It's a bit deeper, that's better. Sample. Yeah, I prefer that notch. To a degree anyway. Didn't quite work. I suppose maybe I should have modelled it, because you can sort of see it looks a bit weird from places. A little bit anyway. That's alright then. Cool. Maybe one more tiny dink here. So just get the sample brush again. Sample from around here. So it's going to be a bit more. I thought that would go a bit darker. So sort of deeper dink. A deeper dink. Sample that. And just a bit around there. There we go. Cool. It still looks stony, doesn't it? It's sort of half metallic, half stone, which doesn't exist, of course. I'm just going to smear some of this up, because I know that the ambient occlusion needs to be around there. Okay. So it's sort of looking fun, isn't it? I'm not sure about the... I think I should sort of leave it as stone, actually. But, move in, Grant. Too many details already. Move in, Grant. Move in? Not sure what you mean, actually. Move on. Move on. Yeah, okay. I was thinking, do I need to move in? But then I'd add more details. Okay, let's... okay. So we'll start speeding up a bit. Let's do something nice and simple then. Alt right click. Alt left click. There we go. And let's go into texture paint mode with this. Fill it in with this colour here. I can just keep tapping until I get there. Am I on? Oh, I'm on multiply, so let's try that again. Sample that. There we go. Now, when you are doing the outline, you want to be on principled BSDF so that you can sort of see it. And then I can sample this colour over here. Sample. Get my brush. And let's up this. Just going around here. Let's Alt middle click to zoom in on that area. And just come around here like this. I probably should have done the mirror for this, shouldn't I? That would have made more sense. Top's going to look much more highlighted. And I'll just do a line there for now. And then bring the strength right down. And we'll slowly get there. Okay, so that was a bit quicker, wasn't it? Am I doing better? It's not shade smooth at the moment, that's why we're seeing it all blocky, but that's handy and it will help us. We'll go to that one so we can actually see what that looks like without any lighting information. A little bit blotchy, maybe we can just smear that bit a touch. There we go. It does help to... I'll use the multiply. It's just... always a bit wary of the multiply. Let's get that colour there. It's quite dark, as you can see. And let's do the bottom. Up the strength. Down that. There we go. And you want a bit of ambient occlusion in here like this. So it looks like there's some space. Not space, but you know what I mean. There's some distance. It's not even distance, is it? But I think you understand what I mean by that. Looks a little bit odd at the moment, but if I go onto the wood, so Alt left click on the wood, I'm going to sample this dark colour here, so it looks like it's digging into the wood as well. And then I can create more of a circle there. Just, it's a bit too dark, isn't it? Just a little bit too dark. I might be too close in. I feel like it's painting there. Going to go a tiny bit darker. Okay, so that looks a bit more circular, and it looks like it's digging into the wood a bit better, doesn't it? Cool, we're getting there. Okay, back onto this one. Actually, I'm just going to go Alt left click to select it, and then back to object mode, right click, shade smooth, so we actually get that sort of smooth look-ish. And then back to texture paint mode, and let's just smudge some of this in, so it's just smears in a little bit more. Looks a bit more rounded then. Always use mix, or also add light and dark and whatever. I think it is better to use mix really, but just every now and again I think, oh, it'd be quicker just to multiply to quickly flood an area and things. So I am being a bit vague, aren't I? Sorry about that. It's funny really. This is the bit I feel most confident with, but I'm not explaining it very well at all, am I? I'm still on the smudge brush. So you sort of get performance anxiety, maybe. What am I doing? I'm resizing my brush. Sample. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? But I don't feel very... It just doesn't seem like this is the best Canon at the moment. I don't know. What do you think? Is the Canon looking alright? It's sort of working. There's quite a cute little thing in it. Ah, thank you, Milan. I'll save it again. Yep, good idea. I'll save... you only really need to save your
thank
image.
you very much.
So if you save your image, the project is still the same as it was. Although I did actually mirror this, so it is actually different, so I should be careful. So I will say File, Save As, +1, Stylized Canon, number 3. Okay, so yeah, so you don't have to panic too much about that sort of thing when you haven't edited your model at all. It's just the texture, because the texture is the only thing that I'm changing. Hue. Does it look quite flat? Yeah, I suppose maybe I need a tiny dink or something in here. I think maybe something, sample that. Quite low strength, aren't I? There we go, just around here or something. And then let's sample some white. And make the brush nice and small. Thanks very much for the donation again, Milan. It's very much appreciated. That does not really come out, does it, that well? Can you see how pixelated it's going now? Because I'm so far in. My brush is obviously too small. That does not look good, does it? Let's just smear that out. Right, in here, sample. I mean, I should be... What I'm forgetting to do, actually, is add a tiny bit of colour variation in here, because this is metallic, so what I tend to do is just come around here and add a few colours, as if it's... Oh, look at that dreadful thing there. And then those colours can sometimes give it that bit of variation that it needs as well, and help it along. There we go. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? Let's get on to the wheels. So I'm trying to move a bit quicker now. I'm thinking that, yeah, I'm being a bit boring. Which one is better, Huion or XP Pen? They're pretty much the same. Huion, I find though, are a bit more robust. So if you're going to move it around and things, or bash it a lot perhaps, then I think Huion's are just that little bit more robust. But it's very debatable. Okay, let's just have a think about this. I'm going to, in object mode, right click, shade flat, and go to Principal BSDF. Then I can see that edge. So see what I did there? Control Shift left click to use my node wrangler to do those things. Just saw your channel. You might not know video on YouTube about channels that has a lot of content, and OMG, my man, you have opened so many doors for me. Thank you so much. Cool stuff, Valley. Glad that you're enjoying it. Okay, so let's think about this. I need to fill it in with a colour, but this time it's a bit more tricky, isn't it? Because I've got the outside bits and then the metal bits there, and there's several ways of doing this really. Sometimes it's easier to separate them, or you can go up to edit mode and select, let's say, this face and 3 faces, and this one, and I've got 2 faces then, obviously, and I can then go back to texture paint mode, or into texture paint mode in this case, and press that button. This one is a masking button, so if I paint with the smudge brush, you can see it's only painting on that area. Okay, so this is going to be wood, so I can use the fill and sample a colour from here, and fill it in. And it's obviously going to do the other side as well. It should be doing that one as well, but obviously I didn't share the UVs. So I'll probably just copy it or mirror it across later, and that'll be fine. So I'm going to do this, try and do this quickly this time. Okay, so let's use the pen. A variety of colours, like this. Maybe some a tiny bit more in the reds. Maybe sometime a tiny bit more in the yellows. Then get my smear brush. Okay, and there's wood. Really rubbish wood, but we can then start adding our details. We've got our base now. So one thing I need to do, I mean, I suppose the metal will have a bit more around the outside, so I'll go to the metal a bit later on and do the final edge. Hopefully that'll make more sense. But what we need to do is bring the strength down, and you see here is a time where I'd probably use the multiply brush instead of a mix brush, because it's using the colours and darkening them. So I've already made the colours there, so I can just darken them with a fairly dark brush. I mean, it can be slightly coloured differently if you want, and then come across and create a sort of wobbly wooden plank bit. There we go. Let's try and find some nice wood texture. Always have some good reference images around. Okay, so there we have it. Now if I'm just going to widen it a touch, but this is a bit lighter, isn't it? Because I've been over those twice, so I'm just adding a tiny bit of shading to this, so it curves around, and then a bit more in here, a bit more depth in there. And then with the screen brush, bit of a highlight. It's quite dark still, so and then we can sort of, I'm just having that, always like to look at my reference images and think, oh, so can I do anything different this time, improve on what I've done before? And I'm fairly confident with wood, but it's always helpful to think, what can I do better? I say I'm fairly confident with wood. Is this looking all right? I don't know. Okay. So the light's obviously coming from the top there. The problem is when this rotates, it's going to look a bit weird, where the light is and stuff, but we'll be all right. Greetings from Latvia. Hello, Juris. Razijan. One hook takes one live webinar. Not sure what that means. Do you sometimes, after everything is painted in details, wish you could somehow change the base mesh? Yes, quite often actually. If you do that, then you can. So it's a reasonable point. So I'll go back to layout mode, and let's say we wanted somehow. Sorry, I'm on text paint mode, so let's go to object mode to add something in here to add some detail. You can. So let's use the knife tool here, cut in here, and create some mesh. And let's say I wanted to, or to save actually. I'll just undo that and save. File, save, and then we'll start again. So cut that. So I actually wanted to make this notch somehow. So you can make small edits like this and get away with it. So if I get that there, press G to grab, sort of move it inwards there and inwards there. So we got a small notch. And then we got a tiny bit there. So you can make small adjustments like that, but big adjustments is sort of tougher to work with. I'm not ruining it. You're right. Yeah, I'm having metal rims to the wall, the wheels, and wood in the inside. Don't know why. I just fancy doing that. What is the key for the eyedropper tool? S for sample. Okay, let's add some detail to these now. So back to this object, into texture paint mode, and we are in texture paint mode. That's good. So let's choose this sort of lightish orange here. I'm using this wood as a sample, then it will keep consistency with the colours. No, excuse my burping. I want a dark colour actually. I'm sort of looking at what sort of knots I can have. I suppose I shouldn't do a knot right in the middle like that. It's too obvious, isn't it? About there. Oh, I'm on screen. That's not helping. Something like this. Hopefully this is going to work. Okay, nice simple lines there. Maybe some dinks in here as we get towards the edges. I'll do the edges properly later though. And around this we'll probably see some wear. And yeah, hopefully I'm making sense. So there's that sort of ambient occlusion type thing that I'm painting there. Bit of a shadow underneath here. And let's go to multiply. Just, oops, that's way too strong. Just darken this a bit, darken that area a bit. And it's sort of working right. Now we need the highlights, so I get the screen. You can see a few questions in the chat, I'll get to those in a second. And let's choose that light colour there. And you can see it's sort of adding that bit of depth. I feel like it needs depth in other places as well, so I'll probably add a few more in here. And multiply. Hopefully this is all making sense. And in here. And yeah, sort of looking woody. Oh, there's a very sort of reddish colour there, isn't there? So maybe I can sample this. So it just looks slightly out of place, and then, oh, not with the multiply brush though, mix. And just sort of rubbing it out. So sample there, getting the bits next to it. But also, if I want to, I suppose I can make that a feature. But actually, I'm going to sample from up here as well. Just feel like that colour's a bit better. Help strength a bit. And sorry, I'm not looking at the chat at the moment. I'm just trying to be a little bit faster. So I did see other people sort of saying, "Oh, you're chatting too much," and all this sort of stuff, which I appreciate the feedback actually. So I need to get better at streaming. That's what I want to do. I want to be really good at everything I do. So it's really important to take on any criticism, as you can imagine. So I'm appreciative of the criticism. I'm just going to sample that. I'm not on yet, so I'm just going to get these, make sure. So a few light areas, and there we go. It's got some wood. That looks a bit better than that, actually, doesn't it? Okay, so do you use tablet shortcuts? No. I mean, it's got all these buttons down here, as you can see, and I've set them up when I'm mobile, but when I'm using this, I've got the keyboard next to me. How about giving the darkest colours a slight bump? Do you mean probably make them a bit deeper by darkening them in areas? So probably in this wood, I think it needs a bit of a darker line in there to sort of match up with this. This looks a blurry version of this almost, doesn't it? And actually, I think these lines here, the darks, need to be a bit wider to match up. That's what I'm thinking. Yep, so it's not as thick. This looks probably... It seemed to put more effort into this one and rush this one and then couldn't really rescue it for some reason. But still. Yep, start with the C-Shack series. The monster and the man is probably the first tutorial I would suggest people take on if you're taking on tutorials. So we've got the rim to do now, haven't we? And we've got a bit of the inside to do, but I'm not going to go as detailed. I'll just vary it a bit and keep it nice and dark. That's what I'm thinking. Make it easy on myself. So if I turn this off, go to edit mode and choose the ring, and then back into text paint mode. I was thinking about something else then. And make sure I'm on isolation mode. And let's sample this color up here. and use it for the fill, sample and fill. So somewhere around there. Okay. Now I'm going to come out of isolation mode because I want to actually be able to paint a bit of overlap here as well. So back to my paintbrush. Probably need to use the mirror. So back down to the mirror, X and Y, X, Y and Z actually I can use here. Sample, just, oh, why is that not painting? Probably low strength. Let's try it now. I'm just checking it's going all the way around. Good, it is. Nice. So there's, it's sort of coming around the edge, obviously, is what we need. It can help to make it look more circular as well, which is good. Something else that I need. There we go, we're getting there. I could, for this as well, turn my pen pressure off strength so it goes completely grey. There's no need for pen pressure at this point. I'm having to just brush over it and again. There's no need for that. Okay, so maybe a bit thicker. It should be nice thick metal, shouldn't it? That would make some more sense. There we go. And because I've got all the mirror axes on, it should be going across here as well, and up and down, and across. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to use the multiply brush and just create that crevice, but I'll turn pen pressure on and down a bit. Just have a look how that looks. Make that a little bit wobbly into the wood. Yep, that's working, isn't it? I think. I would say, in my most humble of opinions. Is that thick enough, though? Have I gone thick enough? I don't think I want to be a bit chunky, don't I? So sample that, multiply off mix. Just seeing if people are chatting at all. Milan, any bullet hole or shrapnel holes, arrow holes, whatever, to get more realistic? Yep, that's a good idea. I like the sound of that, definitely. So a bit thicker, so I'll go to the very edge here. Put my strength back up. Yeah, strength back up. I can't remember what these weird globe things do. They're new to 2.82, and I can't remember what they're about. What's the time actually? Because Blender today starts at some point soon, doesn't it? And I don't really want to overlap with them, but they're doing. I was thinking, well, I'll just do it on a different day, and now they're going to do it every day. Apparently, anyway. I prefer actually watching the recaps personally because just a bit more useful. Is Blender on mobile? Someone got it working on a mobile, I think, but it's not naturally a mobile. It's kind of, oh, that's really dark, isn't it? Oh, because of my strength. It's not naturally a sort of mobile program. You can imagine the processing power it needs. But you can always try. Bit of fun, isn't it? Okay, that's a bit better, isn't it? Cool. It would be cool if we Blender on mobile. I'm not sure it would, actually. It's kind of fun for a moment, and then you think, well, I can't do much. I can move my cube, move around the viewport, maybe. Here, Blender on Nintendo DS. You can. You've got different types of smooth object, but I always keep it completely smooth. So, well, I say always. I'm about to go after I do these highlights. I'll do these highlights, and then I'll talk about smooth shading and not. So, with multiply off, mix shading. Let's create some metal rim around here. Okay, so that's nice and simple. Now I'll turn symmetry off. Yeah, that's fine, I think. So I think maybe it needs to be in here as well, a little bit of a highlight. Looks a little bit weird at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get there. So symmetry off. And then we can start thinking about the smooth shading. So if I go into object mode and right click shade smooth, we can see that the highlights are doing their job. So I'll just click away. The highlight makes that edge look sharp. So you always shade smooth and highlight with your painting. Notice the principled BSDF adds a bit of ambient occlusion. which you could add in the game, or you might want to paint in a bit more. Yeah, it's up to you. My beginner takeaway: high poly count isn't everything. Sample. Oh, I'm not in texture paint mode. How's everybody doing? Are we all good? No, it's still got lots of people watching, which is surprising. I feel like I'm being really boring. Just sort of painting away. I haven't really sort of responded to much. I'm trying to be a bit faster, you see, because like I say, people are sort of one person, but I definitely see their point. And I was going so slowly, and they're thinking, and they said I can't really watch it because it's so slow. It's not helpful. I thought, yeah, that is a decent point, really. But let me know. So give me some constructive feedback. What you would like to see more of, less of. It'll be really helpful, because I want to get good at this, good at streaming, so I can be the best that I can possibly be, or be the best. That would be good. Not too boring for me. Good. I will watch it afterwards. Watching your approach to things is very interesting to me. That's nice. I suppose you're all watching. And you're all still here. I suppose I need to talk to the people who aren't here as well. But I do appreciate all the feedback. It's really helpful. Stalker Easy Mod. Hello. I'm not sure what that the other stuff means. It's tough, isn't it, making tutorials and stuff, getting the pace right, Milan, but you get there. Just keep practicing, and the subscriber count will grow. If it's not growing, then change your approach, is my thinking on that one. Now I'm making some highlights around here as well, as if there's sort of dents in the wheel, much like I did with the Canon, but I'm sort of doing it a bit more by hand, a sort of Voronoi by hand texture. See what that looks like. It's not too bad, but I feel like it needs to be a lot darker from the base. So let's get the multiply, just quick multiply. Nice big brush, low strength. That's what you have to be careful of, though. I might actually use the mirror on this, because then it will go to the other side automatically. Well, I'm about to sneeze, but don't worry, you won't catch anything. Oh, it's weird sometimes when it's like that and you don't actually sneeze. Must be alright. What am I doing? I was doing the multiply brush. That's what, symmetry. There is symmetry in the X, which will go across this way. And that's all I need, isn't it? Yep. I always find it helpful when people not only tell you what they're doing, but why they're doing it. Hence why I watch you. That's cool. Yeah, try my best to make these things make sense. Now that's the x-axis, so obviously I've rotated these at some point, and it's not. That's the y-axis. Can't be the z-axis, can it? So it's the z-axis. Weird, isn't it? Because these are rotated, so if I press N and go to item, you can see that it's got 90 degrees rotation. Therefore my angles, these are global symmetry. Quite dark in the back here, most certainly. And in here. I'm not hiding the other shapes because I kind of want to see where they are, but you could obviously do that. Okay. Oh, it's gone a bit dark in my wood, hasn't it? I'm going to have to undo that. I wasn't watching. A bit too dark, whereas the other wood, I think about there in the wood's quite nice, and I need to darken this a bit, but I'd just be a bit more careful where I'm going. Ah, that's right. It's because I've got got symmetry on. That's why it's going really dark. Oh, what a silly bitty. There we go. I'll have to turn symmetry off for that. Oh, I just lost my symmetry. Come on. There you are. Yeah. See, you have to watch out. You can sort of miss bits every now and again. Maybe I'll isolate it. Oh, my forward slash button isn't working. That's a weird glitch to that, and it sometimes happens, so you can't isolate it, and it's really annoying. Sometimes if you switch to layout and back to texture paint mode, then try it. No, nothing. You can, I think, if I go to layout mode and in texture paint mode here, and then if I forward slash, nope, nothing. So it's just not working for some reason. It was working earlier, and then it just stops working. What I'll do is I'll save my texture now, shall I? Biggest problem to me, not good English. Yeah, I suppose I'm really lucky in that sense, aren't I? And I must say that it's just luck, isn't it? Where you're born, and English happens to be the dominant language, and I've got a nice British accent which helps people understand me. So I've got a leg up with the tutorial stuff, really, haven't I? And I'm sort of just lucky in life in a sense, aren't I? But with good content, and I imagine practicing a lot, because I do practice my accent when I think about it a lot, actually. I think make sure you're pronouncing things correctly. So I practice and making sure I haven't got a regional accent, because our regional accent is the most oddest thing. You wouldn't believe it. Is display tablet useful when modelling, or is it better with mouse? What do you reckon? It's absolutely vital. I don't think you can really do it with a mouse personally, but that's my personal opinion. I'm going to alt left click on this and just quickly, with my multiply brush on, darken some of these areas. I feel like it's not painting though. Why not painting? Yeah, it is. It's just, there's a bit of a smudge there. I'm just going to smudge that out. And go back to the draw brush, strength to about 2 I use. 2 is my sort of go-to, 0.2 that is, for doing multiply type stuff. Always just sort of give it a rest, go back, see how you're getting on. So this all needs to be quite dark in here, as if you're sort of painting in ambient occlusion. Just checking they're all good. I haven't got symmetry on at all, have I? I've lost my symmetry now. Got too many tabs open. There we go. Yeah, I just haven't got symmetry on. Yeah, I mean, certainly start off with the mouse. There's no there's no right or wrong way. It's whatever gets the results, but it is a lot easier, certainly with a mouse. I've got to say that. I wonder if I can go to isolation mode with this. Yes, I can. Now, why couldn't I do that with the other one? I wonder why that is. Perhaps something to do with layers or something like that. I don't know. So this is isolation mode that I was trying to get to before, and it wasn't working. So saying things like weren't was not working. That's weren't. That's bad English. We can't be having that, can we? Okay, I'm going to use my screen brush now. So I'm just sort of bringing things out and giving them a bit of depth. So after the screen brush, let's press F there. Very sort of grey at the moment. I'll go across a bit to the oranges and just highlight these areas a bit, as if they're catching the light a bit more than others. So drawing them out a bit like that. Sort of working, isn't it? Sort of working. Now I could rush and copy this wheel to here. That would be a nice and easy thing to do, wouldn't it? But really, you want that to add character to it. You want to be rotating that wheel, and if I rotated the wheel, the shadow wouldn't work. But what I could do, it's quite a long-winded way of doing things, but if you want to, I suppose, would you like to see that? How you can copy an object but then edit it without editing the original with UVs. I mean, I'm probably not even making any sense. It looks like the wood is burnt a bit. it may well be. It's a Canon after all. That's not my intention, but that's interesting. Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? I haven't done particularly well on this particular wood. I was rushing that in the last section, and it's... How does the tablet work in edit mode? So if I go to edit mode, then I can just select points, so you can see, and then grab them. It works the same as a mouse. You tap to left click, and I've got this button set up to right click, and this button set up to middle click, so I can move around. Yeah, I suppose that wasn't it seems such an obvious question to me because I use it all the time, but to someone who hasn't used a tablet, so I do apologise. I thought it wasn't even a question, but because I'm so used to it, it's yeah, being a bit silly, I know. What about adding laser aiming? Yes, at the top here. I think that's what we need next. Thank you very much, Red Dragon. I appreciate that. That's nice to hear that it's going all right. I'm in texture paint mode in here, and I'm going to add a bit of depth to it. I'm going to go to multiply, bring the brush down. There, jumped around a bit there. Not sure this is right, really. I think that's a touch better. There's not much in that. Why not emulate 3-button mouse? Because the Alt key is used for so many other things, and seriously, if you get used to this, it's just no need for holding down the Alt key. There's no point. Shoot a clown out of it. I was hoping to do a bit more today in terms of live streaming, but I didn't really sort of get my timing right with other things. I've got sort of a few freelance projects, and I wanted to get a few videos out as well. So if you have a look on my channel, there's a video about channels you may not have heard of, YouTube channels you may not have heard of. And I thought, there's a few I've just noticed, and I thought, wow, they've only got under 1,000 subscribers, some of them, and the content's really useful and really good. So if you can get across to those and help them out, I think it's good for us, isn't it, as well. Yeah, so copying this one to this one. I'll bring my mouse back for this one. Where's my mouse gone? There it is. And let's go to layout mode and see what's going on. So this has its own UV space. Let's go to UV editing mode, would make more sense. And you can see it here, can't you? These tracks sort of going down.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Red Dragon. Much appreciated. It's wonderful of you to do that. Nice looking stone. It is just stone, isn't it? It's not supposed to be stone. It's supposed to be metal. It has gone very stone-like, but yeah, I keep working on these things. Right, so we need to. Well, I'll move this across the side. Grab on the Y, and the nice thing is, so that's in text mode. So we need that in object mode. I'm going to Shift D and duplicate that in the Y. Party cannon, definitely a party cannon. And scale this up. I'll go to this mode here. Scale it up a bit more. Just until I think it's sort of roughly the same size. A bit bigger actually, isn't it? Make sure it's in the middle there. And then I can check the scale just so I just need to make those. Holding down Shift. Important to hold down Shift if you want light increments. There, okay. So they are exactly the same as the moment, but I like the wood on this one. But if I rotate it now, then what are we? X-axis, isn't it? And rotate it. The shading looks a little bit off. Do you know? It's not that bad actually. I could get away with that. Maybe I should just get away with it. But the highlight's a little bit weird because it's up there and then it's down here, so it is a bit odd. So if I wanted to change that, I can then grab this one and this one into edit mode, and so I can see my UVs for this one. And just having a think, yep, they're the same place as this one here, but I press Shift D, so it's a duplicate, so they are different, but I have to map them across to these new ones and then bake the textures across. I'm thinking actually that's a time-consuming process, and it's just going to take too long, so don't worry about that. If you want to see that another time, we'll do it another time. But for now, I think I'm getting away with that. Definitely getting away with that, aren't I? Oh, what's going on here though? Oh, that's because it's mirrored, isn't it? I'm assuming. That's interesting. So why are the textures not... anyway, it's not mirrored. It's the part of the same object. Okay, into edit mode. Alt-A, linked. Ooh, I press the knife tool by accident, delete faces. And I'll do the same for the other side. Into edit mode. Alt-A to deselect all, link, delete selected. Okay, and then I can just grab these two. Actually, just you can only do it one at a time with modifiers. Add modifier, mirror modifier. It's on top of each other at the moment, so it looks a little bit weird. So if ever you get this looking thing, you've got two objects on top of each other, or you've got two faces on top of each other. It's the way you mirrored it. Yes, yeah. Thanks, Corey. Will you animate this model? It won't animate particularly well, the way I've painted it and put shading on the bottom there, but it will. We can do. We'll give it a go. Be a bit of fun. Right, so we need to mirror around this object here, and there we go. It's on the other side, and I ought to just copy this one and bring it down here. That would be the easiest way, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm going to do that. These were going to be wooden posts, and then I only need to paint one more thing. And you have to think of shortcuts like this, don't you? All the time. When you're working, you might think, oh, I've only spent 10 hours on it already, and I've only costed for 8 or whatever. That's usually what I'm doing. I'm always like that. Dreadful. I always overestimate my abilities and then take ages doing it. Hello, Monona Vidono. I think I don't know, I probably butchered that name. Sorry about that. Blender test guy. Would there be a way to have a separate shadow texture on the wheels and use nose to keep the shadows always facing down when they're rotating? Yes, you can actually create a sort of plane on the bottom here and give it a sort of dark texture and things if you wanted to. So put a plane on the bottom, maybe put a transparency and just have a sort of shadow on there. Then when the wheels move, the shadow always stays in the same place. Yeah, you can do it that way. So let's, on here, I suppose actually I'm just going to delete these for now. That and that, delete. Grab that one. Still in texture paint mode. It's doing that because I've got lock object modes off. So it selects things in their whatever mode they were in when you left them. Or a negative light source. Yes, that's another option, isn't it? Not really played with that much. Greetings from India. Nice to see you, Devanch, Kaushik, something like that anyway. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. I always try and pronounce people's names and then I end up regretting it because I can't manage it. Sorry about that. Yes, I should be able to just, I can just move this in the X. But I will, is it mirrored? Oh no, it's a separate object, that's fine. Grab in the X and just seeing where that line is and lining it up. And into edit mode and delete this one. In fact, I want to press link over that. Link, delete, faces. And then I will use the mirror on this. Mirror modifier and use the canon as the mirror. Let's just check that's working. It's looking good. We're almost there, almost finished. So I will have actually done this in about 4 hours, won't I? It's probably a little bit longer, but we'll see. I do really enjoy doing these streams. I hope you're enjoying it as well. Yeah, I was saying earlier, wasn't I? I always look forward to them. I think, oh, let's do some streaming today, have some fun. It's just great, isn't it? Grabbing the X until it comes out to that point. Let's check that's working on the other side. I feel like I just edited it in edit mode, so that's going to go a bit weird, isn't it? Just going to cross that mirror out and do it again. Because I feel like I did something a bit unusual then. Why is it sticking out there? What have I done? If it's in edit, oh, it's because it's not got the wheel. I was thinking, why is it sticking away from the wheel? There's no wheel. That's why. A toilet paper cannon. Someone has already said that, but I think that's a great idea. That'll be cool. Right. Add modifier. Mirror. Canon. Now we're getting closer to finishing. It's looking kind of cute, isn't it? I feel like this wood needs to be a bit darker, so I can easily do that. Texture paint. Get the fill. Go across the tools up here. I'm in UV editing mode. I should be in texture paint mode for this. There we go. And use the fill brush with multiply on. So multiply down here and very low strength. I'm still using my mouse at the moment. Just tap it and then it's a bit closer to these, isn't it? That will do for now. The last bit to do then is that bottom panel there. Actually this one here. Oh, I filled it again with some colour. That's probably a bit closer actually anyway. So let's go to object mode, select this object, and into edit mode, select Alt A, link select, delete, faces, and mirror it across the other side. There we go. Oh, I've mirroring the x-axis. That's weird because it's been rotated, so the x-axis is all weird. Please make the ammo TP. What's the ammo TP? Do I need a stiff drink? Do I? Cannonballs. That's a must, really. They need some cannonballs around here, don't I? Yeah. Thanks, Poser Craig Kidd. Nice of you to join us. Okay, last one then. I'll try and do this fairly quick. If I select a wheel as well and go into isolation mode, then I'll be able to see the colour of the wood that I need. Oh, thank you very much. How do you pronounce your name? Nej? Thank you very much, though. Very much appreciated. That's cool. Oh, my alert hasn't happened. What's going on with my alert? Right, text paint mode, text paint, object mode, text paint mode.
Well, thank you very much.
There it is. Forks and spoons in the canvas. I love that. Right, so I'm going to just sample some colours from here, and then paint. Oh, where's my paintbrush? Also, I'll put the symmetry on, just to start with, in every axis. And I've got to change the brush back from multiply to mix. Let's try sampling a colour again. Not getting anywhere. Why am I not getting anywhere? Oh no, what have I done? Did you see I was actually painting on the wheels because I selected them last? Let's go to the... there we are. God, have I screwed them up too much? I think they're okay, aren't they? So just sample a few of these colours. Whoa, that's a bright one, isn't it? Oh, it's because I turned the thing up. Okay, so X and Y isn't working. So hopefully I can figure out which one. So it should be the X-axis, but not always. Yes, that's great. So I'm going to undo a few of those. Always looks a bit weird in the middle, but you can tidy that up later. That was awful though. Don't do that. Not going across to this side. What's that? Oh well, we'll get it to work in a bit. Sample some more colours. I mean, I can always just colour pick as well. Vary the colour a bit. And the tone. Then get my smudge tool. And at this point I can turn symmetry off, I think. So it doesn't, so it sort of smartens it up a bit. Get a little bit wobbly sometimes. And we've got a really nice simple base for our wood that's nice and quick. That's the main thinking I was thinking. Make these come around the edge here. I don't know what the underside's looking. We'll keep that nice and simple. Won't do much to that. The smear brush takes up quite a lot of processing power. You can kind of hear it in the background. Apply your rotations. Yeah, I should do. And then I think these are global. They're not global. They are local, aren't they? So I need to apply my rotations. But yeah. Do you wear out pencils and tablets quickly? Do you have any issues with that? Never had any. I've never changed the nib on this, and I've had it for a few years now, and it's fine. But just get used to not pushing too hard on these. There's just no need. It's very sensitive, so you don't need to push hard on there. Hello, Water Striker. Right, image save. You can call me PC if that helps. Poser Craig. F plus L equals E. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, let's now separate out. So let's go to, just quickly with the multiply brush, then I don't have to think about colours. Brush size down. And just make a plank across there. Actually, is that the best way to do the planks? I don't think it matters too much, does it? Probably chunky planks actually about there. It's not quite right. Notice I have my hand over the undo button, regularly pressing undo on this. And just in case I need it. Now I can't see my lines, so I'm going to have to just do it by eye. There we go. I can't be bothered to try and isolate the wheel and then see it again, so it's about there, isn't it? It's going to be a tough one. Not really going to see that bit anyway, that's why I'm not worried about it. Okay, so we've got really basic wooden planks. Now when we do the screen, they'll probably look fairly okay. Fairly okay, that's a good word, that, isn't it? But what will help if I go to put the principled BSDFs and I can actually see the outline. I'm rushing a little bit because I'm over my time. Not that it matters that much, but it's a super long stream, and I can feel myself getting a little bit tired. Probably saying silly stuff as well. Hopefully I haven't said anything stupid. It's the more tired I get, the more stupid things I end up saying. Cool. Mostly do 2D animation, and that is animatical productions. I would like to do more 2D animation. I'd like to experiment with the grease pencil a bit more. I think that'd be really good fun. Probably ought to vary the colours a little bit more than I am. The corners always catch the lights more, and they're brushed out more and all that sort of thing, worn. So go to town on the corners just a touch more than the rest of it. Right, let's turn on to the normal shading. I say normal shading, but you know what I mean. That's what I mean about saying stupid stuff. And just putting some lines in here. Really simple. Maybe put some... We're not going to see this too easily, so I'm just going to put some really simple knots in there like this. And then let's go back to the multiply brush. Put some notches in. Swirly bits. I'm still quite light, so I'll go a bit darker. And it's sort of looking alright. That's a really quick and simple, dirty piece of wood. Hopefully it's all making sense. Being a bit quick on this one, as you can probably tell. Screen, lighter brush. Let's go for a different colour. Whoop! Didn't mean to do that. Just getting some of these scratches a highlight, and anything else that I needs a highlight, probably around here. Okay, so really basic wood there. It's probably a little bit off from this, so let's get back our other shapes. And yeah, I need to sort out the colour quite a bit and just shade it in from the other areas. So let's go first of all to multiply and just do the base. It's quite a reddy colour, so I'll go back towards... There we go. And in here it's going to need a fair bit under the base there, down the sides here. And I might need to change the colour really, really slightly. So can you see this is sort of a bit more, this is more orangey than these. I kind of prefer that actually, so I might change the others to that. But that's impossible now because this is this isn't a separate object from that, so that's very difficult to do. So I need to match this one ideally. So let's just sample that colour. And looking at this, and then we've got a colour option here. So probably something like, yeah, colour would, I mean, you can try the saturation as well. Oh, I'm sorry, this should be a fill mode. So saturation, see what that's like. And I'm saturating at the moment with a strength of 1.5. Yeah, so I'm just taking that saturation away, going towards this one a bit. Maybe a bit of colour as well, so you got the colour blend mode, and that's too far. A bit more muddy, isn't it? About there. God, it's tough. Let's sample that again. But sampling it, you can't quite get precisely where it is. You get part of it, but not all of it. It's quite a tough one, really. I think it's actually a bit more saturated than I think. Not that much, though. Maybe I'll go softer with the brush. With the strength is what I mean. So it's a bit closer to this. A little bit closer. I can probably come in and just darken it a bit. That's a bit closer. Okay, and then this one. I just need to try and get that saturation as well. Yeah, it's about right, isn't it? Okay, last few bits, and you can sort of, this is where the sort of fun shading bit comes in, really. But let's go back to the multiply, and just, the multiply is really good here because we've done the detail already. Probably a little bit strong. So we can just really have some fun with it. Shading in over the top, and that's, yeah, like I say, the multiply brush is excellent for this because it doesn't get rid of any of your details, so that's why you'd want to use the multiply brush at this point. Name of the stream, canon or canon. Yeah, I made a mistake that, didn't I? Yeah, spelt it wrong. Am I spelling it wrong, or you're just spelling it wrong? It's not me at all. It's you. It's the way you're spelling it. Any way I spell it is the correct way, and the world is wrong. I do think there's some politicians that think like that sometimes. No, whatever I say, that's the right way, and the world is wrong, and I'm right, sort of thing. Okay, we're sort of matching up. Putting a bit of detail in. Screen. Quick screen there. Cool, there's lots of the, it's just not the same type of wood, yeah, indeed. Mimu me. Polybloom, I believe there's some games that are like that. I'm not sure what, talking to someone else there. Every tree is a different colour, very true. What happened to the live stream before? Oh, there was loads of problems at the beginning. It was really frustrating. So, yeah, I do apologise about that. So, yeah, it's just massively frustrating when things don't work, and it really failed bad earlier. That was very annoying. Just kind of enjoying myself now. Okay, how's it all looking? We're getting there, aren't we? We can turn overlays off, actually. I've had them on all this time, but we really don't need them. Yeah, it does look a bit a different wood, so, I mean, there would be some tidying up there to do. If I go to the principal BSDF now, it's got a bit more ambient occlusion. That might be nice. Let's turn it down a little bit, though. The distance, usually, can you see it sort of affecting it there? And now I can sort of start lighting it and things and placing it in a scene. So let's go to layout mode, and actually I do want my grid floor. Let's put it on a floor. So there's a few things that you might find useful here. So if I don't suppose it matters too much where it is in the world, so I'll just put it right at the bottom there, and grab and Z until it just touches through there. That's what I want. So it's sitting nicely on the floor. Move it into the middle, into the shading tab, and I mean, there's a couple of ways you can light it. The best way, I think, is with just an HDRI. So Shift A to add texture. I don't need to light it because, again, if I go to Object, this object here, this is it without any lighting, and you can see it's still got some shading. It still looks quite nice. It's all right. But if I want some shadows on the floor and things, then I can use the world tab. And if I want a bit of shading in there, and it's a little bit dark at the moment, isn't it? But let's Shift A to add texture, HDRI, environment texture, plug that in, open one of my HDRIs. There's one there. Yeah, so I'll show you this. Oh, I'm going a bit blasé about this stream now, aren't I? Right, yeah. Doesn't really matter which one. I mean, well, I suppose it's going to be outside, so we'll choose this one because it's an outside image. And that will help us when we go to rendered mode. And it's very dark, so we want to brighten up a bit. Let's have a look at the object shading. And this is the time we just sort of fiddle around a bit with it. I mean, I could bring down the roughness just a touch, so it's not quite as stark. The floor probably needs to be a grayer colour, so it doesn't, but it's clashing slightly. So yeah, so it sort of stands out. I like to hide the background, so under the render tab over here. Hopefully this isn't going too stupid quick for everybody, but there we go. I'm thinking though, if I click on the object again, I'm thinking it does go quite dark, so there we go. It looks a bit nicer like that with the emission. That's how it's meant to be, and that's how it will look in game as well if you have no lighting on it and things. But it's got a shadow on the floor, so that looks cool. The other thing you can do is if I click on the floor and go across to render mode, no, it's not render mode. Click on the floor and go to change it to cycles. Now this, you'll notice this renders instantly because it's an emission load, and it's not affected by light. Oh, I haven't done the wick. Have I? Look at that. Oh, annoying little thing. I suppose I could just, I'll do that in a minute. Oh, that helps me remind me to save my textures, because cycles will only look at your saved texture. So let's just bring this out just a touch so I can see my image. Save image. Now when I reset cycles, let's go back to Eevee, back to cycles. You can see the bases there. And so that's something useful about cycles there. So what was I saying? Can you see this updates really quickly? Hopefully that's coming across. Because, like I say, it's an emission, and cycles won't sort of use the bounce light and all that sort of stuff. So it will render quite fast still. But what you can do to the floor in this case, if I go to the object, you can go to viewport display, not viewport display, visibility, shadow catcher, and then you can put this in any background you like if you wanted to make it look nice and cool. So there we go. Any questions about all these things? Good guy cycles, yeah, he does well, doesn't he? Like the fuse, yeah. I suppose, let me think. Have I got some textures? I probably have. Right, there is one last thing I do need to do, isn't it? And that's the fuse at the back here. So let's alt left click on that. Be really quick here. So go to my texture mode, fill it in with a fuse type colour. Where fuse? Just want to see what the best colour is. So I'm looking up fuse here. It's not going to show me. It might. No, show me fuse canon, double N, and image. Just seeing roughly what colours they look like. Oh, they've got some really weird looking fuses here. Yeah, sort of just going to be a sort of ropey thing, isn't it? Yeah. Just having a look. Back to the stream. Where is the stream? There you are. How do I set the emissive material? Here, it's in here with the node wrangler. I mean, you can just change the principal BSDF to an emission, but that's what it's like normally. So if I press Control Shift Left Click with the node wrangler add-on, Control Shift Left Click, it will go into a viewer node, which is the emissive material, and it will do that, which is better. Node wrangler is Edit Preferences, Add-ons. Oh, it's on another page. Add-ons, and type in node up there, and you'll find it. Make sure it's ticked. Right, I was painting this, wasn't I? Fill it in with a slightly sort of yellowy colour. That's too pinky, really, isn't it? Always tricky. About there. And I'm on saturation, no mix. There. Looks a bit weird, but we'll go to our texture paint, and we will. I'll just use the multiply light strength. I feel like I'm painting a tail. That's strange. There we go. Now, if I light the fuse, I would paint a bit of light on here as well, usually. But I won't do that at the moment. I'll just leave it for now. You could even have that as a separate layer. And then it could flicker with the fuse lighting. Maybe probably should show you that, shouldn't I? A loud pig indeed. So you can set up layers in Blender. Dun, dun, dun. This is a bit of a killer though. So I'll create a new texture, base color, and you've got to make sure the alpha is on for this. There's the color, and so into the color and bring the alpha down. Now it's a completely transparent texture, and I'm going to call this fuse light. Okay, and press OK. Now it's across here. Whoa, I've got two things selected. I'm going to control spacebar on this screen so you can see it a bit easier. Let's bring that down. It's going through a viewer node at the moment. Doesn't matter. I'll just this is what the setup will look like normally. So we need to mix these together. So I've got Node Wrangler installed. Now you should use a mix RGB and stuff, but if I press Control Shift right click, is it? Yep, I can do that and create a mix shader. That's really handy. So I want this one to be the one that's the factor. So this is now all the base. So if I go back to previous, it sort of disappears basically. It's using this transparent texture, so it's thinking, well, I can't show anything. If I go all the way to the other one, that's showing this one. Okay, I suppose I should do them the other way around. That will help. There you go. So this is the alpha channel. So fuse light. So the alpha I want to plug into the factor. So now it will only show me stuff I've painted on here, but because of the alpha. So it will show the alpha or stuff I've painted, and it will show over the top. So anything I paint on here will come over the top. So I can paint some fuse light on here. So here we go into fuse light. So watch what happens to my screen here. I'll paint on the canon. So Alt left click onto the canon with texture paint mode and choose a sort of light color that's, I suppose it's sort of reddy, orangey, F, and really low strength. So, oh, it's on multiply, so that's not going to do anything. So here's the fuse light reflecting off my canon. That making sense? So that's fuse light there. It sort of looks a bit like fuse light. Hopefully that's not too bad. I am going to just on the other one though. So let's go to. So I had fuse light selected there, and you can see just there it's added a tiny bit of color. Okay, so if I take this out, this factor, it goes, and then it's just the fuse light. Can you see that? Okay, so that's what's going on. So I'll plug the alpha back in. I'm going on a bit now. I've gone 2.5 hours now. So we got that sort of reflective fuse light with our layers. It's a bit complicated. I do have tutorials on this, so do look at using layers in painting. Just making sure people are still with me. I suppose people are still watching, so, so I feel like I've gone off on one into a rabbit hole of layers and things, but I suppose the more you see it, even if you don't understand, you look at it and you think, oh, so that's roughly how you do it. And then when you see it next time, you'll understand it more, and the next time after, you'll be able to do it yourself. You see what I mean? Okay, so there's some fuse light on there, and maybe we can set up a node to sort of allow this to come in and out, or all sorts on there. I'm thinking how we do that actually, but where was I? Oh yes, so now we need some fuse on the end here. Now, yeah, I could do this with particle systems and all sorts, but if you're doing hand-painted stuff, generally speaking, I'm just going to see what sort of textures I've got actually. Hopefully I've got something available. Right, textures. There should be some flames somewhere. If I type in flame. Flames. Oh, they are pretty bad flames though, aren't they? And are they PNGs? PNG free? Okay, that should be right then. Let's, I can't, yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to import. So let's go to the, yeah, so in here. No, I need to create the flame first. No, right, okay. I'll get there in a second. Okay, so I'm going to click on this object and in object mode and Shift A to, Shift S. Oh, my brain's going now. Shift S, cursor to select it. Shift A to add, plane. I'm going to use an, no, I want to, Shift A to add images planes. So that's another add-on, images planes. So go edit preferences add-ons. Your graphics tablet need a bit reducing red color. Oh yes, it does. Yes, it does indeed. It is quite sort of orangey, isn't it? Yeah. It's a bit annoying actually. Anyway, images planes, and then I'll find my image under. Come on, where the heck is this? Textures. There you are. Textures. Oh, they've got a new search function, haven't they? Look at this, everybody. There we are. This is not a particularly good one. Oh, that has got an alpha. I don't know whether this probably isn't a free one though. And okay, so that looks a bit weird at the moment. Grab that. Move it up there. Oh yes, cute little thing. Right, let's go to UV editing, and then we can scale. Or grab my actual face. That one. Scale it. Can you see it moving and changing on the UVs? Which one do I want? Probably this one. I don't know why. Just like this one for some reason. There we go. It looks a little bit naff at the moment, but we'll get there. We'll move that into position. And I'm going to subdivide it. So right click, in edit mode, right click, subdivide. And then just give it a bit of distortion, left and right. Because then it won't be completely flat from this side. Okay. Move this into position here. Right, now go sort of perpendicular with it. Shift D, rotate. About there. Shift D, rotate. Oh, yes, there we go. Is that working? It's sort of working. And then what we need is for this to be plugged into an emission, don't we? It looks a bit messy, actually. I'm not sure that one worked particularly well. So let's scale one of them down. That one looks a bit weird, that one does. They're sort of working, I don't know. Yeah, that's not great, is it? Maybe I'll just go to, right, this one here. Delete that. Right, just two. Yeah, hopefully I can get away with this. Right, shading. It looks horrendous. But if I click on this now, it's got this texture. So this is images planes will bring in this texture, and it's got an alpha, so it plugs the alpha into the alpha and the color into the color, so we can get what we need. So if I turn the emission up, is that the best way actually? And I actually want the color going into the emission. That would be better. But how do I? That's the one thing I always forget how to do, and it's really frustrating. But what's the best way to do that? Having a think. Yeah, how do I increase the emission? Oh, I suppose it doesn't matter. I need to look that up. But I think do you plug an add node into here or something? A math node? Anybody know? I could animate the flames by using shape keys or bones even. I'm just having a look at what people are saying. Have you tried the question page on Blender today? No, I haven't actually. Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's you're asking someone else then. Okay, so we need. Let's use a really simple way here. Let's go back to Eevee. Right, there we go. Looking cool. And let's use bloom. This is the easiest way. Yay! Bring the intensity up. It sort of works, doesn't it? It's not the best, but it's sort of working. I need to put it into position a bit more. And if I click on that canon again, and now how can I change this? That's a tricky one. How do I change the factor at the alpha so it animates? Because I can turn it off like that and turn it back on again. But how do I? Not sure actually. That's interesting. Something I'll have to look up. Base color value higher than 1. Yeah. So let's have a look on our. Yeah. So from here, I suppose Shift D. And go in that way, so we know that it's this. In fact, how do I put that up though? Don't know. A mix shader maybe. I mean, I could use a mix emission shader, I suppose. Yes, that's what I usually do. But I kind of want to know how to do this. So anyway, Shift A, shader emission, and then mix these two together, color into here, and then we can just up the strength. All the that's interesting because I haven't got an alpha on there. That's making it go weird. Oh, there we go. Turn that off. Huh. I thought that would have worked, so it obviously won't work. Yeah, because that's I need the alpha, but this hasn't got an alpha channel. So that therefore, oh man, this is complicated now. So Shift A, shader transparency. This is probably a really stupid way of doing it. I don't know. Mix these two together. Use this as the alpha to go to the there we go. Oh, it didn't quite work. Didn't quite work. Oh, I got these the wrong way around. Have I got them the wrong way around? Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So it is working now. Yeah, no one's going to call me a genius after that. But there we go. It sort of works. And it actually in cycles now, that should actually give off some light. Oh, it looks quite cute, doesn't it? So it actually gives off the light on the back of this thing. It is quite funky, isn't it? But we haven't got any bloom. We have to add that with compositing. I was busy watching the US president deflect traitor media. If it's one of those things though, if you're meeting people and you think, oh, they're annoying, and then you meet someone else and you say they're annoying, and then you meet someone else and they're annoying as well, then you might start thinking that maybe you're the annoying one. And what I mean by that, if all the media are saying one thing, then who's actually telling the truth here? It's tricky to say. I could be wrong because the media have ganged up on people before, so who knows. But brightness and contrast node might work. Could you just model the flame and use blend shape? Oh yeah, I mean this is it's probably going way over the top here, and using blend I could use a sphere and warp it into a flame. It would look a lot better. Maybe I should quickly do that. Getting lots of buzzes on my phone. I kind of like this, kind of cute. And if I go to the compositor, then I suppose I'm going off on one here, I know. But you can. No, I haven't done this for ages, so I can't remember off the top of my head. I need the emission from the layers. Is it emission? Oh, I can't remember. There's a light one, isn't there? Oh, I'd have to look it up. Oh, there we go. There's emission. So it'll come in here, and then I need to plug things into a blur node. Oh, it's been ages since I've done it, so I won't do that because I'll just look like an idiot. I suppose what might look better. Let's move that onto a layer. Move to new collection. What's it called? VEIKK. That's the one, isn't it? VEIKK. No, fuse. He wanted to call it VEIKK, but that's a candle, isn't it? Fuse. Okay, so let's hide that for now. Yeah, so better would probably be Shift A to add a mesh icosphere, scale it down, and then go into sculpt mode probably. Dine topo, not there. And then let's grab that. Okay, and make it into some sort of flame. Just looks a bit weird at the moment, so I smooth that end out. There we go. I suppose it wants to look a bit more like that, actually. It's more of a flame. It's more of a turd at the moment. One of my main questions for creating a video game is, do we have to create only the assets in Blender and then import the FBX files into the game engine such as Unity, Unreal and so on? Yes, that's the best way. Or we have to animate the whole asset in Blender. Yeah, including particles. Well, some game engines do particles quite well, I think. So you might want to do that in the game engine. You'll figure these things out as you go along. Just look lots of things up and people will advise you as well. Is that looking like a fuse? That's not really, is it? Oh, it's going dreadfully badly now, isn't it? Oh. Let's see how this is not going to work. I don't know about that. I thought it'd be easy to do a flame, and that's gone really wrong, hasn't it? So what you have to watch out for when you're doing that sort of thing is being rubbish at it. Watch out for being rubbish. That can really spoil your flames. Oh my goodness, this looks horrendous. I suppose I've got to have an image and some flames to help me. What do these ones look like? There we go. And they're bigger at the base here, around here. I don't know about this. Does that look like a flame? Not really, does it? Oh, if you ever do that in sculpting, you can get the inflate brush and kill it completely. I've got, instead of constant detail, I've got relative detail, and it's really awkward to work with that. Oh man, I thought I'd change that. Oh dear. Yeah, anyway, that's not really working, is it? I wasn't prepared for doing sculpting a flame, which is going to be harder than I thought. There we go. Magic now. It looks really great now. You can't deny that. But I suppose now I can go to shading mode, and I'll get away with this, I reckon, because I can just Shift S, shader. I'm surprised. I was thinking I was going to look up then, and everybody would have left by now. But people are still with me. Thanks for sticking through this. Emission. I suppose I want a color ramp here actually. Yeah, it's not really working, is it? Probably need to think very hard about how I shade this, because you want a color ramp from the base. Let's see if this is going to work. Shift A. Not a color ramp, I mean a gradient texture. Where's that? Search gradient. And then we want, oh, that's not, that's going from side to side, so Control T on this, and I want to rotate it in the Y, probably 90 degrees. Yep, so it's going from the bottom now, and then I can plug this into, why am I going off on one with nodes? What am I doing? I'm obviously tired because this is not where I plan to go, but oh, there's color ramp into the color there. Let's see what that looks like, and then we can change the flame colors. So, I mean, it could have any sorts of colors, can it? It's actually there's sort of a blue in the middle there, isn't there? And I really that looks horrendous. Not a blue. We'll go for a red. It's tough to make that into a sphere, though, isn't it? Linear. Spherical. Oh, now I've rotated it though, so haven't I? So, let's see what that looks like there. That's not what I was expecting to happen. So if I rotate, let's just rotate and see which. Oh, maybe I can't do that from the spherical point of view. Okay, so it's going to have to be just linear then. Weirdly, that might work. So if I go into the emission now. No, it's not working at all, is it? Ah, well. You get the idea, I think. Just looks like some sort of butterflies landed on. Right, so let's go back to layout mode, and I'm going to sort of finish it off a bit here. To be fair, it's not actually that. Oh, that's sort of worked. That's sort of worked, and because we're actually in Eevee now, Eevee's come to the rescue. And it looks a bit better than with a blend mode there. Oh, cool. I suppose what we actually need as well is a light. I'm really going off on one now. Let's get this back. Omnidirectional light. Change the light settings. Change it to a really sort of yellowy colour, maybe a bit orangey like that. And then up the 5000. Oh, it's over here. Top view. Oh, what happened there? I'm in texture paint mode suddenly. Grab. And grab. and then to render mode. Way, maybe not 5,000. It's just because this is so sort of chunky looking. It's let's just. It's sort of working, but there we go. Right, and why is my? Let's go to my shading again. I've gone off on one. Finish off the live stream. To feel too much stress in your voice. Yeah, particles would have been fun there, wouldn't it? I think probably should have done that. A Fresnel node. That's what I should have done, shouldn't I? Yes, a Fresnel node, because that Fresnel will be the outside of it. Yes. Oh, that would have been much better than the gradient. I like it. Your flame has shadow. Yes, lots of flames do these days. They have quite specific shadows. That is the problem. So I suppose actually the way to get rid of that, this could last forever, couldn't it? Let's go back to, I need to move this and then scale it up. But it's not scale, is it? It's in the light settings. And where is it? There's a clipping start. There, ta-da! So I'll just up the clipping start, although there's a weird anomaly there, isn't there? And let's move it into position. It's sort of working, It's the shadows are a bit annoying though, actually, aren't they? Maybe I need to actually just do that. Yay, I sort of got there in the end. Right, let's, if I turn the overlays off, ta-da, finally finished. I feel like the world isn't doing much though. I'm just going to turn this world strength up. There we go. Finally finished, right. Okay. Ta-da, a canon. After lots of messing about with the flame, it sort of works, doesn't it? But yeah, one thing, you can't use a shadow catcher in Eevee yet, anyway. But you can only do that in cycles. So I'd have to go to cycles if I wanted this to be a shadow. I suppose it doesn't quite look right at the moment, does it? So I suppose I can just make it a lot smaller, and just bring the colour right down, somewhere around there. I suppose that's the reflection, isn't it? Bring the roughness up. There we go. That's fun, isn't it? And thank you very much. Thank you. Very long, drawn out ending there. Make glowing cubes for the flame. Yeah, it would have been quite cool actually. So I have little cubes coming up. Yep. Back in the day, POV Ray, they had something called halos. Yes. When I used Maya and things like that, yeah, there was halos and stuff. Oh, it's a real pain to set up a shadow catcher, though, isn't it, James? I'm surprised you're still with us. Anyway, I think that's enough from me, isn't it? Anybody got any questions, though? I suppose I should answer a few questions after that ending. It looks kind of fun, doesn't it? I'm quite happy with it, really. I would like to have done a base and all sorts of. Was about to continue watching your Get Good at Blender series when I saw this stream. Hey, cool. Yep. Make sure you share your results on the Discord server. Oh, actually, has anybody else added any more cannons? Any more of their cannons? Let's just quickly check. Oh, look at this one from Larry. That looks a good one. James Green, what are you up to here? Toilet rolls. Genius. Liking it. Oh, we got a few here. I don't know what's going on here. The reason my homework was so bad. I see. Cool stuff. Love the hair. Silver fox. And what do we got here? It's cool. Cool little scene. I know this isn't the canon, but do any of you know how I could improve this? Think about the lighting. Where's the light coming from? So maybe a light coming from the outside of the cave, but it looks very flat at the moment. So a really common problem, and lighting will solve it in different locations. It'll sort it out for you. Ish. I really like this, Larry. Oh yes, that's a canon, isn't it? Love that. I like this detail as well. Yeah, that's good. Nice work. Thanks for sharing those with me. Thanks all for joining me on the stream. I had a lot of fun as always. Will this live stream be continuous? I think I've overdone it in live streams over the last couple of days, but I am doing one tomorrow. I'm doing Raymond's character tomorrow, so there'll be... can't remember where I'm up to. I think I've finished the boot. I was just finishing off the boots. I had a bit of a meltdown error with multi-resolution modifier, but just finishing off the boots, doing the stitching, I think, but I might have to do that by hand painting, but we'll see. Will you be making any more videos about good topology and edge flow? Yeah, I do need to get back to that, don't I? Yep. Where you fix topology for the car. Yeah, I think I will probably do some more of that. Nice work, thank you very much, Julio. Appreciated. Yeah, I think we're there. So tomorrow will be... I might start at 3 tomorrow, which is different because I'm thinking, is Blender live on now? I'm just going to have a look at Blender's channel. Because I ideally don't want to overlap with them, because one, they get a much bigger audience than me. And, well, they're not live at the moment, are they? Not by the looks of things. Unless I'm wrong. Oh, no, live now. There we go. So they must start at 5, I think. They might even start at 4. So it's going to be really difficult for me not to hit them. Oh, well, maybe I'll just have to overlap slightly. Shame. Grease Pencil Team, that's what they're doing today. So maybe if you, go across to them, perhaps. Greetings from Algeria. Nice to see you. Salem. Thanks, Milan. Thanks, Vilmar. I think it ended up quite nice, didn't it? So actually tomorrow, yes, probably from 3 till 5, I think, we'll do the Raymond character, which is Fisher. Thank you, Drew, for saying brilliant work. Kier, Canos, stay well, all of you. Yes, indeed. Yep, stay well out there. Obsessing over numbers is the downward spiral. Cinematic, yeah. I suppose I'm not obsessing over numbers too much. I just don't want to interrupt people who want to watch both. I want to get it right. What am I going to make tomorrow? It's Raymond's character tomorrow. So always on a Friday at the moment, we're doing Raymond's character. And that's going to... Hopefully that will end up nicely. It's slowly developing. It's taking a long time though. So the full character workflow tutorial. I'm quite pleased with how this canon turned out. It did look quite fun. So that's good. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and I will hopefully get it working first time next time. We'll see how we get on. Might have to do some tests in between, but we'll see you all then. Thank you very much, and happy blending. Keep safe.